What's up, everyone? Welcome back. Today is episode 4, and today we have a very, very special guest. Now, this guy is really interesting because every time when I drive on LDP and all the other highways, I will see him. And then when I go Watson, also I see him. But he's never seen me in real life before. So today I finally get to meet him real life, and he is Jinnyboy.
Hi everybody. Yeah, this is the first time we're meeting. It's so interesting, right? It's like the first time I met you is like I slid into your DMs like, hey man, want to go for a drink? I'm kidding. We did a podcast together because like I think I stumbled across your videos when you were doing investments. How do you get rich in 24 hours? Yeah. I'm kidding. Yeah. But yeah, it's so good. It's so good to see you. It's so good to meet you. It's so good to. I mean, thank you so much for having me on your 4th episode. As a Chinese, I'm a bit upset because 4 is say. You could have named this episode. You could have named this episode 3A.
We move this to episode 8. Happy or not?
Okay, I'm great. I'm happy. But yeah, thanks, dude. Thanks for having me.
All right. So I have to say, right, actually, when you slide into my DM, not asking me for a drink, but asking me to do a podcast with you, I was actually pretty happy,
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Because for those of you who are actually involved in content creation, right, if you actually have a full-time business in this, getting Jinnyboy to actually talk to you, it is like an achievement, I would say.
Yeah, because Jinnyboy's a every time you ask him to be on your show, right, he's like, to see first, pretend to be a superstar, then like, wait for 6 months to reply your message, and it's like, then after, okay, I job high enough for that, I'll be on your show.
So I'm the privileged one.
No, I'm kidding lah. I'm kidding lah. It's like, I've like, to be honest, like, I've never ever been on, I hardly go on people's shows because, number one, I don't get invited. I think, yeah, really.
I'm sure you don't get invited.
I mean, yes, I have been asked to do a lot of shows or interviews and stuff like that. I think I tend to try to do as much as I can, but I tend to be quite picky as well. Not because of what I do or whatever, but for me, it's like I have a lot of things that sometimes my mind kind of thinks over and over, like what I need to focus on, and sometimes I don't reply, and sometimes I get a little bit like, distracted because I'm always constantly at one point in time trying to think of like, oh, what can I do next? What can I do next? Trying to run a business and stuff like that. And, coming from a person that doesn't have any knowledge of running a business, it was a bit stressful. So, yeah.
We're going to definitely talk more about that, right? Yeah. But just for the sake of the audience, I bet some of them actually only see you on TVs, on billboards.
Nobody knows who I am, so yeah, I should introduce myself.
Don't be too humble,
no,
man.
serious.
Now, I would like to know one thing, right? Yeah. How long have you been in the media or content business?
I've been in the entertainment industry since I was, since I was 23 years old. I am 38 now. 15 years. I've been in the entertainment industry for about 15 years. But I think like the majority of the people that kind of know me probably knew me after I started YouTube. Before that, I was doing radio.
Yeah,
but nobody listens to hits, you know what I mean?
That was when actually I get to know Jinnyboy.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Yeah. That's why I say that I'm actually quite happy, in fact quite proud when you actually slide into the email asking me to join you for a podcast, right? I was like, wow, this guy, I've been watching him since like school days,
Oh man.
Because when I listen to Hits FM, there's this Jinnyboy, right? Yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, but that time I don't know how you look like yet, right?
Yeah, because like they always say that when you listen to me on radio, there's this joke that they always say that, oh, you know what, you've got a face for radio. It means like you're damn ugly. So yeah. But I mean, like, contrary to that belief, everybody on Hits was actually very handsome and very pretty. Yeah.
I have to agree. Today your face is everywhere on the billboards. So.
Oh, man. You get the less Photoshop version right now on Mr. Money TV. Yeah. I'm sorry.
And I remember those days was the Hits crew, right?
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Then y'all will drive to schools and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and then campus. Yeah. So I remember during those days that I would see the first time I see your face was because one of those trucks has your face there.
Oh, right. Oh, man. Yeah.
Then after that, I start seeing you on YouTube.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so actually, just to talk a little bit, right, about this part, from how was the journey like? Because we all know you like right now. You're that famous guy, that popular guy, one of the, that content creator that's on Malaysia YouTube scene, one of the biggest YouTubers in the market, right? Now, but how was it like from a transition from DJ to film? Yeah. What happened?
Well, Oh, that was actually, to be honest, I didn't know what was going on because I think like when I was growing up, I loved editing videos. And when I couldn't afford a computer at one point in time. So I remember my first computer was a PC, which is like the monitor's like super fat one, you know. There was a PC that a cyber cafe was getting rid of because they were bringing in new computers and they were selling off their PCs for cheap. So my brother bought it for me when I was in Form 5. And I was like, whoa, ICQ, MSN, and all these things. You know what I mean? It was so cool at that point in time. But then I got to downloading all these weird software, video maker, and last time there was this software called Windows Movie Maker, which was like really like olden day software. You guys don't probably know it, but
many of them probably even don't know what ICQ is.
Yeah, they probably I seek you. No, I'm kidding. But I think like at that point of time, Linkin Park was big. I kind of watched a little bit. I'm not a big anime fan, but I loved taking anime action scenes and editing it into Linkin Park songs just for fun. And I edited it to the beat of the music and whatever not, and then share it with friends. So that was I think the kind of start of my sort of video making or creating or whatever not, because I like to edit videos and stuff like that. Then I think when I was studying marketing and PR. And at the same time, that's when I kind of discovered YouTube, and I started watching a lot of YouTubers. One of them was Wong Fu. That's straight up, it's Wong Fu.
Yeah, Wong Fu. I remember.
Yeah, Wong Fu were the ones who were making waves like in the world. Asian Americans, for some reason, were really huge on YouTube, and it was nice because like we were looking at some Asian Chinese fella or Asians that was actually like having big view numbers on their portfolio. You know what I mean? Because normally people will always think that, oh, Hollywood's best. You know, Malaysians at one point in time will think that the West is best mentality. Everything is Hollywood. Yep. They won't really want to watch anything local or listen to anything local. So, watching all these YouTubers was very refreshing. So for me, it was like, okay, cool. I just watched them, and Wong Fu always placed their behind the scenes. And they showed pictures on what they used and how they filmed, and I was always very interested. But when I started Googling, back then there was no Google, it was Yahoo. That's how far back it was. It was before YouTube got acquired by Google. You used to search all these type of things, and you see that the camcorder that they're using that you can buy for 400 ringgit now, but back then it was like 1,000 to 1,000 ringgit.
Yeah, I remember those days, man.
Yeah, those camcorders with tapes and everything, and then after you can attach like an adapter to put a camera lens on it, and then whoa, it looks so cool. And then I just got very intrigued. And then when I came back, I still made videos. I remember like the first video or one of the first few videos I made and I put it up on YouTube was how I hacked my PlayStation Portable to PSP. Like when you turn it on, it's a PS logo, right? So I hacked it so that it shows an Xbox logo. So I was like, whoa, it's so cool. It got like 30,000 views. Like wow, you know what I mean? And I think like I got a job on Astro as a marketing exec. I wasn't doing radio yet, and from there I met Smash Pop, Jason Go, and he introduced me to the world of DSLR photography, and I was like, oh wow, that's insane. That's how pictures are, like subject, sharp background blur, that kind of thing. So I saw the camera that he was using. He was using a Sony Alpha at that point in time. And I was like, oh, I want a Sony Alpha. So I saved up money and I bought like a Sony Alpha 100, which was a second-hand market. I got it for like maybe 2,000 ringgit, and I got like a $600 lens, a 50mm, and I started shooting pictures. And I did a lot of photography. I even tried to make like I did the side hustle. I tried to do wedding photography. I tried to do like event photography to earn money. Like pay me $400, I take pictures of you. You know what I mean? And from there, when everything changed when Nikon announced the D300S, which allowed you to film video. It's nowhere close to what we have now, but it's just like you can shoot video. You cannot adjust the shutter speed. You cannot everything's automatic. But the fact that you can have your subject being sharp and the background being blurred, it's like wow, movie. You know what I mean? So I got that, and I started making like funny films. Then I started doing like my friends' pre-wedding videos just for fun. I mean, it's nothing like what you see, like how those people like, wow, come down, like slow motion, whatever not. This one is just literally capturing moments and editing them to music. And then and in the process, I was actually already working for radio, and I think like I kind of saw, again, I'm a very big fan of Wong Fu. I saw what they did, and then one day I was like, hey man, I kind of want to try and make a film. So I wrote a film. It's called Ah Wing, Malaysia's #1 salesman, and then decided to film it. And then it was like supposed to be a one-off project. Then I uploaded it on YouTube, and all of a sudden, like, first day 5,000 views. Okay, whoa, that's a lot of views. It's like, whoa, And then after that, I was like, okay, cool. I kind of like hit my milestone. And after I woke up the next morning, I was like, 50,000 views. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then after that, like, the first week, 500,000 views. I was like, oh, okay. Then, all of a sudden, like, all right, man, I'm making money. I'm a YouTuber now. Where are all the sponsors? Where all the cash like flowing in? I think it was complete silence. So I guess that's how I didn't jump to YouTube straight away. I think I was still with radio for a while. They moved me up to the morning show. And I think I worked for the morning show for about 2.5 years, almost 3. And I decided that the morning show wasn't for me. And I said that, okay, since my YouTube channel was kind of like growing, I was like, okay, yeah, there were already some brand deals that I was doing, not great, but I felt that if I left radio, I could kind of maybe focus into YouTube and maybe make it into a business or something like that. So it's just more of like a leap of faith. And then when I left, I never looked back, and I am where I am here now because of like the journey that I've been doing for the past like 10 years.
I think one thing that, as you share this, I still recall when that particular video went viral.
Yeah.
It was the first time that you see something Malaysian going viral, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was something very new.
Yes.
Because I remember watching that video. Although I can't really remember the content, but when you said Ah Wing, the best, I was
Yes.
like, oh yeah, it strikes a chord, right?
Yeah.
Because during those days, it was like, the first Malaysian who actually achieved virality.
Yeah.
And that time we won't even use the word viral because that word wasn't even existing yet.
Viral means you're sick.
No, but I recall at the point, right, because I was still young, I was still schooling, right, still in my university days. I tend to have this idea at the point where I look at it and like, wow, the guy's so lucky, that one video.
Yeah.
But now as you share this, then it makes me realize that there were a lot of effort that were being made prior to that.
Oh yeah, yeah.
A lot. And your journey in video was not that day when you just made that video, but years before that.
Yeah, it took me 7 years to get 100,000 views. But my first 100,000 views wasn't Ah Wing, Malaysia's #1 salesman. It was a vlog that I did when Justin Bieber came to Malaysia. So I remember I told you I had that Nikon D300S. I could shoot videos and everything. So I took it along with me, and I decided to document the whole entire concert. And Justin Bieber freaking tweeted my video, and I was like, whoa, like 600,000 in like less than 24 hours, and my inbox crashed. And I was like, okay, cool, that's cool. I mean, I felt happy because like for once, your hard work kind of paid off, right? But the effort wasn't really the reason of the virality of the video wasn't really my effort. It was Justin Bieber because it's him, it's his famous and stuff like that. Then ever since then, I started doing a lot of interview videos. So when I used to work in radio, I used to interview a lot of celebrities, but we only did phoner interviews, but over the phone call. And even if we get to interview the celebrities one-to-one in person, we would just bring a tape recorder or like a digital tape recorder, and that's it. And we'll put it on the desk over there, and we'll ask you questions, record it, bring it back, play it on radio. So for me, it was like, hey, I'm already there with the celebrity, right? Like Lady Gaga or like John Legend. Can I just put a camera, in front there and just record while we're talking? And like when I asked that every time I went for an interview, everybody was just a bit like, oh, they've never gotten such a request before. They're like, oh, okay. Yeah, so that's how it started. And I enjoyed, apart from editing videos into music, I enjoyed editing multicam interview videos. Like, when you had 2 cameras, one on the interviewer, one on me, and then one wide shot. And then after I had 3 angles to play with, I was like,
that's
whoa,
right.
I'm God, this is God mode. Yeah, seriously, to me, I was God, like, wow, I give you 3 angles, I give you the 3-dimensional experience, not only on radio, but also on YouTube. Then, yeah, that's how it started. And then Hits took that and started a team to go out with all of the announcers to record all of their interviews. And then I was not allowed to kind of touch that section anymore because it became their business model.
Ah,
Yeah, so they were selling advertorial spots to their clients and stuff like that. So I'm like, okay, cool. And that's why I decided to make short films.
Right. So that was why you started making short films.
Yeah.
So, but with all these skills accumulated, then it helped you to actually achieve something, right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, hits gave me a lot of exposure, that's for sure. Because like, you know, I like, if I were to release like my first YouTube video, a short film, I mean, like, of course, hits has given me that exposure because so people kind of know who I was. But like, you know, so like if I were to basically tweet it out, people would be like, okay, there at least 10 people or 100 people will watch that film. But the fact that it kind of opened my eyes when that video went viral and I realized that there were a lot of people who do not know who the heck I was. you know when you work for a company that markets himself as the #1 station in the country, you know, you're always like, oh, proud, I'm working, you know, people know me because like I'm #1, you know. And then like YouTube opened like a whole different door, and it gave me a very different kind of attention that like I would never ever kind of expect to get. You know what I mean? You know, you get people leaving letters in your in your post box, or coming up to you and say, "I like your work."
Leaving letters in your post box.
Yeah. And then of course the emails coming in saying that they love your work. The emails coming in saying that you're Chinese, you suck, go back to your home country.
Even that?
Yeah, of course, yeah. And then, you know, hey, stop making fun of Chinese people. It's like, hey, then one email came in, hey, you Singaporeans, don't make fun of us Malaysians, go to hell, you know, kind of thing. So, you know, it was a lot of mixture of good, bad, and weird, you know. So for me, it's like, oh, cool, you know, that's cool, you know. But where's the money? You know what I mean? Like, I was like thinking like YouTubers around the world at that point of time, they looked like they were making a lot of money. They had big houses, nice cars and stuff. For me, it was like, Google wasn't monetizing their videos in Malaysia. They were ads, but the monetization does not come to you. It goes back to Google.
That's right. Yeah, that time don't have the Google partners yet, right?
No. Yeah, Google partners was a big thing for YouTubers at that point in time.
Yeah. I still remember that time was still very early. So basically, it's just more like a hobby kind of thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you still gotta look for sponsorship. You gotta be able to involve in sales and so on.
Yes.
Now, but before I go into the business side of things, right? I just want to get to know you a little bit even more as a person, right? Now, from in the past, someone who, you know, just another guy, and then today as who you are, you're like the famous guy, right? What is the difference between the Jinnyboy last time, before people know him, and the Jinnyboy today?
I think like the Jinnyboy back then like wanted a lot of things, and there were a lot of expectations to think like, you know, there were a lot of expectations thinking that, oh, the entertainment industry is like this, thinking that like you just need one big break and then you'll be set for life. The Jinnyboy today will tell you that, you know, if you want to be in the entertainment business, if you want to make this a career, that's a lot more than just thinking that popularity sells. Because yeah, popularity will get you somewhere, but if you don't have like a team behind you, or you don't have that mindset of how to monetize your current position, or your skill set, or your current popularity, then, you know, you won't make money. It's like a lot of people tend to think that just because you have the numbers to back up your popularity, you're going to be rich and famous and stuff like that. It's not always like that. I'm not saying that I'm super rich and I'm super famous right now, but like, you know, a lot of people tend to overlook a lot of things when it comes to like the lifestyle of the culture of the famous people that they see on YouTube. They always believe that, oh, you know, the minute you have numbers to validate your popularity, you know, it's you're sorted. It's not like that.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Being in this business right now, yeah, totally agree.
Yeah, exactly. Because people tend to think that the minute you have like, everybody thinks that you're gonna be like Psy. Oh, you got a video that's like 1 million to 2 million views, you're set for life. You're just like Gangnam Style. You don't realize that Psy had like 30, 40, 50, 60 people in his management trying to sell him everywhere, you know? So yeah, I mean, how I am back then and how I am now is very different. I think right now I'm very I don't think I do a lot more entertainment. I don't think I entertain a lot more. I think right now I'm very much more business side, back end. I still love to create, but I believe that the younger generation create better. So it's like, for me, is I like to be a part of that creating process, and I see the younger fellas do take my idea and make it better. And for me, it's quite fulfilling.
Right. And I remember watching one particular interview about you some time back, and you mentioned also that when you were younger, actually you got bullied.
Oh yeah.
right? And so I just can't. I'm just trying to grab my head around. Now you're a guy who's like full of confidence. The way you talk, everything all great, fantastic, and I can't reconcile the fact that back then you were bullied. So how was it like back then? Like, can you tell us more? How were you bullied, and like what happened to you actually during that time?
I think like growing up, so a lot of people tend to always think that just because I have some sort of like platform like hits to speak to people, or just because I have like a huge following on YouTube, they expect me automatically to be confident. I think people tend to always want to assume that you're a celebrity, you're a public figure, you should be what I expect you to be. I don't think that they realize that we're actually all human. So I think I grew up in a household that was very outgoing. So performing wasn't really that tough for me. My family, cousins and uncles, there was one time we all actually did a play called The King and I in the Day 1 DBKL, and we sold tickets for about, I think, a week. And we got to work with really, really famous actresses like, Susan Lancaster and Ramli. I can't remember what his last name was, but, he was a botak guy, so that's why he's a king. It was a stage play. So, we sang a lot. We love singing. We love musicals. We did musicals. So I think like performing arts wasn't really an issue. Like even in school, I formed a band actually, and we decided to perform during like talent time and stuff like that, and it was fun. And I think the confidence came, I think like together with my cousins, my mom. My mom also used to perform on stage. She used to do tai hei, those opera shows and stuff like that. And so I kind of feel like it's within the family. All of us can sing, but we're not destined to be like super singers like BTS or like Blackpink. You know what I mean? But then when we went to high school, when I went to high school, it was I remember I have probably 3 encounters of bullying, but at that point, if I want to rewind it back right now, I think I have had 3 encounters, but I think at that point in time, I didn't realize it because at that point in time, I thought that, yeah, what they said about me is true. So one of them is, I think like there was this girl who kept calling me big butt in school and how fat, because I was very fat. I was a bit like big size in school. Like when I was in standard 6, I was like I had to go into the adults department to kind of like buy clothes to like size 34, 40 and whatever not. So I was pretty fat. So, I had like girls, you know, when you're in high school, not high school, like standard 6 and everything, you're kind of already exploring, like, hey, that girl is kind of cute, I kind of like her and stuff like that. But when you like that one kind of girl and then she kind of like, I don't like you. And then she starts going around telling people how fat you are and stuff like that.
Yes.
Then for me, then you tend to like, yeah, I'm that. And you kind of like single yourself out. I remember once there was this boy and he was, I think I was standard 3 or standard 4 and he was in standard 5, I think. I can't remember, standard 5. I was just at the ball, I think at the football field just before like heading off to, there's a bus, the bus all parks there. I used to study in Street KL, by the way. And this boy just came up to me and just freaking kicked me in the balls. For no reason. I didn't know who the hell he was. Yeah, and he just kicked me in the balls, and it hurt so bad. And it hurt, and I remember. Now that I go back to that, I remember very vividly. No matter how painful it was, and the tears were coming out of my eyes. I was trying really hard to not cry, like really, really hard to not cry, because I was so afraid that people are gonna laugh at me because I'm crying. Now that I come back, now that I revisit that, it's so funny because nobody laughed at me. Nobody was even looking, actually. Yeah, but you see, at that point in time, I remember thinking about that. So that was twice, but I'm not sure if I told my mom about it. Yeah, I think yes, I told my mom about it. And then they talked to a teacher, and the teacher kind of reprimanded that boy. And then after that, I remember that boy. That boy is a fat kid too, and he was wearing like a bandage on his left leg. Can't remember what his name was. But it was a fat ass. So, yeah. But I think like that's why when I went to high school, I thought everything was great because I went to Stella Maris. Beautiful school. The teachers are lovely. They nurture the kids like how they would nurture their own kids. Like they encourage you to do many things. If they knew that you had a skill set, if they knew that you were talented, they would probably invest in, you know, whatever your talent was. Like, you know, when they knew that we had a team of boys who liked to play drums, guitar and everything, they basically had a classroom full of musical instruments because it was run by a church. So, you know, church have a lot of musical instruments. So, you know, we formed the band, we started performing. And then when I joined that school, it was the first year. So it's a very new school, very, very new school. I think the year that I joined was the first time where it went public, open to public. So every classroom had like 20 people. So everybody was like very close-knit with each other. Then I think as we progressed to the Form 2, right, Form 3, there were more students coming in and some very notorious kids from Chinese schools or very Chinese educated people. I'm not saying that Chinese educated people are bad, but these kids who were here, they were Chinese speaking and they were very gangsterish looking at that point in time where gangs were the thing in the school. So I think what they were trying to do was they were trying to kind of mark their territory, you know. Oh, I'm from this gang, this number, that number. I want to take over this school and whatever.
Number 11.
That kind of thing. So what they did was they were actually going around really like for no apparent reason, like bringing guys one by one up to the auditorium and slapping them and beating them. So I was one of them because like for me it's like I was a performer. I used to sing in the band. So he brought me up and he said the one guy, he comes like, hey, I don't like you. You damn like you know, that kind of thing. Then I'm like, oh, okay. Then after that, one guy just stood up and slapped me across the face. And I'm like,
in front of everyone?
Yeah, in front of their group there. And I was like, oh, what the hell just happened? I was still in shock at that point of time. I was like, oh, okay. And then, you know, and then he said, don't make me see your face here in this auditorium, you know, otherwise I'll freaking slap you again, stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, I was like, what the hell, you know? And then it was very like, I remember I remember going to call my brother about it. My brother sent my mom to the school, and then they talked to the dean and penolong kanan guy lah, right? But the thing is, it's so funny because that didn't solve the problem. Because yeah, I know that your parents got involved, and normally when you have problems like that, when you get your parents involved, everybody be like, "Hey, mommy's boy," that kind of thing. But I don't think I felt that at the point of time. I was just disappointed because like I wanted revenge. I wanted those guys to be slapped back or whacked back lah. You know what I mean? Not by me, but by somebody else lah. So yeah, that's pretty much in the nutshell how we got into it. But like it may sound like it was just a slap, right? It was just a slap. But because of that, the whole group of us that kind of got threatened or tormented by these people was so easily manipulated by other people. Say, hey, you want protection? You know, like one guy comes up to us and say, you want protection? Join my gang. And then he told us that, oh, you all have to pay like $35 or $38 every month. And then it's so stupid. Like now that I look back at it, it's like, oh, you know, people with the biggest fear or people who are afraid are the easiest people to manipulate, right? And this guy just comes like, oh, I want you to meet my taiko. And there's like one guy sitting there, whatever now, with a school bag, with his shirt tucked out, spoken Chinese. And I'm like, I don't understand a word of Chinese. So he's like, okay, well, he's speaking like very deep, poetic Chinese. Yeah, you know, it's like it's like whatever nonsense. And after that, like one guy will say, oh, you know what's in this bag? I'm like, no, it's a gun. All of us like freaked out. But at that time we believed it, but we didn't see it. You know what I mean? Then suddenly out of nowhere, they came up to us and say, oh, taiko lie, chutzi, you know what I mean? And the big brother got a problem. Apparently he was arrested and he needed bail. And all of us had to find money for him. So I remember, like, you know, I had a bunch of friends, a few girls, guys who were nice enough to loan me money. So when we realized that we had to pay money to get him out of jail, we were like, hey, our money combined together is not enough. Then straight away we say, okay, I want out of this gang. I don't want. Yeah. And then he said, okay, you want to quit the gang? You have to pay money. Yeah, it's so stupid. Yeah. And then it's so, I don't know how, but I think we end up paying almost about $1,000+. It's a lot of money for me.
Serious?
Yeah, it was a lot of money.
$1,000+?
Yeah.
Per person?
Yeah. And I remember there's this one girl, I'm not going to name her, but I remember her. She loaned me money and like without question, I'm going to help you. I'm like, wow, thank you. I was so grateful. And I got out of it, and that's where I laid low. I stopped performing. I mixed around with more a very mellow group, and study, you know what I mean, the more studious group, and then then after that the teachers made me a prefect, and I was in the same group, and I think the teachers kind of knew what I was going through, so they knew where to put me and to kind of groom me to be better. So yeah, that's kind of like my experience in school, and for me it was like, as a kid you always want to seek validation to be strong and whatever not. You don't want to be embarrassed in front of everyone. But I kind of feel like if I look back now, like if you feel that something's not right, if you're a victim, you should speak out. There's nothing wrong about speaking out, Because of you speaking out, you kind of like create a ripple for the others who are so afraid to speak out too.
That's right.
You become the influence of change, the influence of that bravery for people who were so afraid to come out and say that, hey, I was bullied and stuff like that. It's such a horrible culture, because like the minute you accept that bullying is a culture, right, then you also will start to kind of like sometimes
that's right,
like pull people's underwear, and stuff like that, and you think it's okay, and I think it's wrong.
Yeah. I still recall, like I think sometimes the thing is that all this, now as you look back, it seems so innocent, right? It's like those innocent little things. But the truth is that it actually leaves a very huge trauma.
Yes, it does.
And even when sometimes you hit about 30 plus, 40 plus, and if you never really dealt with it, you never really face it, something can just creep up to your doorstep and you realize that, oh, I've been behaving like that at work because I never really dealt with those kind of issues, right? I didn't overcome it. Yeah, I still recall, like, for myself as well, I was bullied in school when I was in standard 6. I recall a bunch of girls laughing at me. They say my mouth is very big.
Oh,
so
man.
they call me a platypus. And they started calling me a platypus, all of them. Yeah. And because my family was quite poor, so we used to drive a very, very, very old car. So I recall one day, this girl actually stood in front of the school gate and she saw my car.
Yeah.
So I went into my car. The next day, when my mom came and picked me up, she brought a bunch of girls to stand in front of the school gate just to laugh at me.
Wow. Do you still remember that girl now?
Oh yeah, I still remember her.
Oh,
I can remember her face. I can remember her name. You see, just like how you can remember that, the guy with the bandage there, right?
Yeah.
Because it's so big of a trauma.
Yeah. I hope you're watching now, Mr. Money TV, freaking killing it. I'm kidding. Oh, that's kind of bullying too. So I was like, yeah.
And as I grew older, back in high school, joining guys for cool and smoking and everything. I'm not sure whether school these days are like that. Yeah, but during our times, like the paikia are the ones that are cool, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I don't know why. I don't know why it's always been perceived as that. Maybe they watched Young and Dangerous.
Yeah, and maybe they're ones who get all the girls around them, and then we also want to get a girlfriend and stuff like that age, right? And I still recall there's one time that this guy actually just slapped me right in front of everyone in the class.
Oh shit!
Yeah, so what he would do regularly is that whenever he walked past my seat, he would actually just push my table, push my chair, and everyone thinks that he's some taiko, and everyone just like laughs along with him. And whenever he pushed my stuff, I'll just laugh, Taka fight him, man. I got nothing, ma, right?
Yep.
So one day he just slapped me in front of everyone, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't know what to do. I just laughed.
Oh, wow.
I just laugh, go along with it. And like, and now I look back, I felt so cheap. Like damn cheap, right?
Right.
Like people slap you, you don't even fight back, you laugh along and then you just go along with it.
Okay.
Right. And part and parcel also because my dad has a very weird way of actually thinking about bully.
Yep.
Yeah. That time he already passed away.
Yep.
Back then was very, very young. When someone bullied me, and I went back and tell him, he scolded me.
Huh.
You know what he said? People bully you, never fight back.
Oh man.
You never fight back. Why you never fight back? You never fight back the guy. Don't call me your father,
Oh,
in Chinese, right?
Yeah.
So my father used to be a gangster. So that was the kind of thing that I got. So, and I realized I was too cowardly to fight back. So I just go along.
There's nothing wrong with not fighting back. Yeah, like I tell my kids these days, if anybody comes up to you and says something nasty, you don't fight back. You come and tell me. Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
So today as a parent, right?
Yeah.
How will you advise your kid if let's say they go through a similar issue?
If they were basically, threatened or somebody made them feel uncomfortable, they should tell number one their parents. But if their parents are not they're not there at the point of time, tell your friends. And if your friends don't support you, tell your teachers. But the most importantly, you tell your parents. You don't fight back. You don't try to take matters in your own hand, because again, like I want to be empathetic in a way. We don't know what the bully is actually going through.
That's
as
right.
Well.
He could be having a very rough day, or she
Yeah.
could be having a rough day herself,
Yeah.
right?
Not only him, but his background and
Yeah.
whatever not. So you don't want to. You don't want to try and challenge this bully's mental well-being or his motive and whatever not. You kind of want to understand where this person is coming from, and the best for someone to do that is adults, especially when you're kids, right? Tell your parents, don't try to be a hero. There's no point. And even if you have someone. And like if for people who are actually watching it happen, I mean, you guys also need to step up and kind of stop it. What's gonna happen? Like you're scared that person's gonna bully you too. If 2% stands up to that person, that fella will definitely chicken out. Even if he decides to retaliate or slap the rest, the 10 of you, you have 10% against him now. That bully now knows that he offended 10 people.
Oh, having said that, right?
Yeah.
But it's very hard to expect other people to stand up.
Yeah,
I recall
yes,
there
of
was
course.
one time, right? So there was a very similar case, and someone tried to slap me as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know what's wrong with my face. People will like slap me.
Oh man, dude, you and I have kind of like the same criteria. Like yes.
So I recall, right? During that time, there was this incident. There were friends around me, and when he slapped me, I fought back.
Yep.
This time. When I fought back, and he went back and he told his gang. He said that he told everyone that I slapped him first. I hit him first.
Right.
And I knew my friend was around me, right? So I
Right.
actually asked them that, can you tell those guys that? And they told me this one thing. They said that, no, I don't want to get involved. Yeah, I don't want to get involved, right? And yeah, so yeah, it really feels terrible. Yeah, but I can't blame those guys because they were afraid as well.
Yeah,
right?
I think everybody was afraid. I think everybody was grown up back then. I think now it's a bit different. Parents are a little bit more
That's right, yeah.
Aware. I think back then, right, we were just our parents were in the era of survival mode, lah.
Yeah.
They were taught how to survive. Everything's all about survival. Go out, work, survive. You know what I mean? And everybody was pretty angsty, and they expect to be their parents as yeah lah. Like what you said is like it's completely what a lot of people say. Hi, gonna bully. Why didn't fight back? Hey, boy,
Having said that, right, then now, other than dealing with the part of like saying that your kids come and talk to you, right?
Yeah.
As you know, them going back to school, dealing with the same situation, and
Yep.
you're not going to be around. Yeah. So how do you think you're going to deal with like those trauma that...
For me is I need to be very open to my kids when they go to school, and I need to make sure that they understand that if they are not happy with anything in school, they come and tell me, and not kind of like, and like for me, it's how I teach my kids is a bit different. Like when they do something wrong, I don't scold them. I kind of explain. I need them to explain. That you don't bring out the cane and cane them straight away. You tell them what's not wrong. They won't understand. Like even if if they kind of want to play your phone and then they said that no, I don't want to play a phone. And you said no, why not? And then they are smart enough to say like, why are you, daddy, using the phone so much, that kind of thing, and why I can't use it. So I feel that kids these days, you need to kind of educate them. You have so much of resources to educate them, and I mean like, look, there's so many ways for you to show them how they can be open with you. How you need to have this really. I feel that you need this big trust with you and your kids. I'm very lucky because I run my own business, so I spend a lot of time with my kids. Because we work from home, whenever, and we try to spend the most time with our kids. So we see them growing up. We teach them a lot. Because for me, at a very young age, I was already in school, and my mom was working. She was trying to work like 3 jobs to kind of make sure that I get through school, right? And yeah, so I kind of like my mom was I. Probably, yeah, I'm close to my mom, but like my mom is like, okay, I don't see you in the morning because my mom's a teacher. So that means like 6 a.m., before 6 a.m., she's leave to go to school already. Then, by the time I wake up 6:30 to go to school, I'm like, oh, already there lah. There'll be a cup of Milo, and there'll be like, there'll be a cup of Milo with the saucer covering the cup so that, it will still stay hot. I'm not sure what the logic was, but every time I drink, it's not cold anymore. It's not hot anymore. So yeah. So yeah, I like for me, it's like I feel parents should be very, very transparent with their kids. They should understand what their kids are consuming. They should, even if it's bad, you need to explain to them why it's bad. Like for me, there are some cartoons that I don't agree with on YouTube, and I'll tell them that. And my wife will tell them, oh, mommy doesn't like this cartoon because it teaches you bad things, and then they will understand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree. Yeah, I think one thing as well, like I did learn as a parent these days, right? I kind of I keep telling my wife, one of the things that I'm going to send my kid to do is actually jujitsu.
Oh, well, yeah.
I'm gonna, cause I don't really practice it these days because it gets too busy. But I still train once in a while.
Right.
Yeah. But I realized that having to learn some martial art kind of teaches them the danger of being able to hurt someone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I never thought about it that
And
way.
what happened is that, number one, I realized that when they know that they have the ability to, and if they're being taught right, they are actually more controlled as well.
Yeah. Yes.
And number two, when someone comes to them brute force, like slapping them or whatnot, they know they are ready to defend themselves, and they are less afraid. Yeah. So because you just can't always be there for them, right?
Yeah.
But again, I will never know this theory is right or not until
until it happens.
Just hope that my son won't be an asshole and whack people for it, right?
Yeah. Like even if my kid was a bully, I think I'll take him back and say like, "What are you doing? What are we doing wrong as a parent?"
That's right.
So like me and my wife, we said that let's not ever exert any anger in front of our kids to show them how or what can be used against other people.
That's right.
If we were to have like any disagreements or any conversations that are a little bit stressful or tension at work or whatever, not let's do it just do it at the office. You know what I mean? Or if we were, let's try not to lead by example in the wrong way.
Yeah. I recall at one point I was bringing my kid to quite a few of my jiu-jitsu sessions, right?
Right.
Then he would see me train with other people as well at home. They came to my house to train. And then at one point he thought that those moves were all normal. And he started doing it to his cousin.
Oh, man.
I was like, no, Samuel.
Man.
You can only do it when there's a mat and when the person is wearing that, okay?
If you now that you mentioned that, I used to do it. I used to watch WWE or WWF, what they call it. Yeah, like the rock bottom, right? They used to do that. And my friends,
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
Man.
Yeah. So no, I think it went a little bit far. I got a lot of questions I want to ask you, but as a parent, that got me really, really interested. Yeah. So that's why it went a little bit off. Yeah. But now let's go back to the question of you being a DJ and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
Now, I was just wondering, those days, because you were bullied before, right? Did all this past trauma kind of inspire you to prove these people that they're wrong? I can be better than this. I can be more confident. And kind of like, inspire you to become more successful in that sense?
No, not really. The bullies were not the main motivation for me to be who I am today. Although, a lot of these stories will always say that, this, I was bullied. That's why I want, so I have a friend. His name is Dennis Yin. Dennis. He took up bodybuilding because he wanted to defend himself from bullies. So you see the bully, that
now you don't want to bully him when you see his body.
Yeah, that time when he was bullied, that that inspired him to basically come out and build himself so he could defend himself. I think for me was the bullying, number one I think the bullying kind of woke me up a little bit to tell me that, okay, if I don't like how it feels, I shouldn't be doing this type of things to other people as well. Not only physically, but also literally, like with words, and stuff like that. That's one. I think the performance, the entertainment part was, I felt like growing up, my family always wanted me to do they always wanted me to be a pilot because they found out that I was a kid. I love planes, right? So it was that always that constant you're gonna be a pilot. He buy plane. My mom will continue buying planes to me. My uncles will buy planes to me. They'll buy me books of planes and stuff like that. I love planes. I love planes so much. When I was staying in Subang, right, any plane that flies by just by the sound, I can basically identify what model it was.
Really?
Yeah.
My God.
Whether it was a 747, whether it was a 777, whether it was a 737, whether it was an Airbus, whether it was an engine with the one with the tail engine, whether it was a Fokker Friendship or whether it was everything.
Wow.
I was so engrossed in it. I loved it. I used to play games. There were planes. I land on PlayStation in my friend's house. Wow, I land the plane nicely. I'll be very, very satisfied and stuff like that. And then when I tried to apply for this cadet thing for Malaysia Airlines, I didn't get any. I was really upset. And I guess when you in your whole entire life, right, you've really prepared yourself mentally that I want to be a pilot, then you don't get it, and then you kind of don't have you were never taught to have a backup plan,
Right.
So it was very it's not depressing lah. It wasn't depressing lah. For me, it was like, number one, at that point of time, I was very, I accepted the outcome because number one, I wasn't really great at my studies. So it's like, okay lah, if I didn't get the call, it's expected lah because I didn't put enough effort to do my studies. So for me, it has. I think mature enough to like come to terms with like, yep, I didn't work hard enough to be able to be chosen, to be sponsored into these cadet groups and stuff like that. And then after that, they wanted me to study like like a pre-U sciences and do aeronautical engineering and stuff like that. So I got into that pre-U. I remember it was Canadian pre-U in Taylor's, and after like doing all these sciences subjects and stuff, I hated it. I hated numbers lah, whatever it is lah. I can do maths, but I can count money, but when you ask me to do all these abbreviations and this and that, blah blah blah, whatever, so algebra, I was like, shit, man. So I kind of like told them I didn't want to do it anymore, and then they kind of like, okay, what do you want to do? Okay, I do business, I do marketing lah. You know what I mean? They're like, that's like it's like as if like they kind of like never mind, just fall back to marketing lah. Marketing confirm you cannot fail lah. If you fail marketing, then you're useless lah. Yeah, they gave me that impression. So all the while I was basically, everything was kind of like decided for me. So I went to this course called the Chartered Institute of Marketing, which was the worst course ever because they were really, really bad. Seriously, because like I think that course closed down after 4 years because the lecturers over there, they were teaching you shortcuts. They were not teaching you, they were teaching you shortcut ways to pass. And then I remember we were doing one exam, right? And then it was 100% failure. Got such thing on 100% failures. 100% yeah, 100% failures, the finals, because the papers were marked by they were marked by I would say 99% failures. They were marked by UK or something like that. Because apparently there was an option for you to either do 50% what's the word? Assignment and 50% exam. Or you can go 100% exam. That kind of thing. Okay. Yeah. So that means your end of year final result will be based on 50% assignment and 50% theory lah.
Okay.
Right? So if you don't want to do assignment, you can go 100% theory. So that's what all of us were ready to do. But this lecturer forgot to submit and tell the institute that all of us want to do 100% theory. So in their minds, in the invigilator's mind, all these people did not submit assignment. So failed.
God.
Yeah. So I remember that was when I took it upon myself and really made my own decision to understand what I want to do. So I went to do pre-U first, and I did the pre-university year, and I realized that, okay, cool, I kind of like sales and marketing, and I enjoyed, I remember when we were young, we were performers, so I loved public speaking, and then I kind of like, got into marketing and PR. And yeah, I think for the first time I felt really good because also at the time when I was studying in college, I was also side hustling, working with an event company that handled concerts. I remember the first concert that I was brought to go and kind of work and put up posters and like climb up and install the lights and whatever not was Alan Tam and Hacken Lee. And I saw all of them like, performing and rehearsing on stage. I was like, oh wow, there's a Hong Kong celebrity, you know what I mean? And I saw this guy with a huge ass camera with a long lens taking pictures of them. I was like, wow, uncle, how much that camera? Oh, this camera can buy car. Then I saw the pictures of it, and I was like, wow, the pictures were so nice. The lights were like, wow, so vivid. They were really all these whatever follow spotlights were all in the background. It looked amazing. That's what got me very interested in the cameras. Right. Yeah.
So basically, this whole from pilot to choosing your own career, and this is something that motivated you to actually do well. Is that?
Yes, it is. Yes, it did. Because I think at that point in time, I knew what I was capable of and what I enjoyed studying and what I needed in order to really excel in the subject. I needed a lecturer who would really invest their time in me. And I needed I needed a group of friends who were probably studying at the same pace as me, so that we all can kind of help each other out. So I figured that out when I went to Metropolitan College, and I made some really great friends over there. And the lecturers, I even got a high distinction for marketing law. Yeah, and I used to fail accounts in high school. I got a high distinction for accounts. I remember bringing that result, and I went back to my school. Her name is Miss Lang. Hey, Miss Lang, look, I passed accounts. She's like, really or not? Because I was the guy that sleeps in class during accounts, right? So like, yeah, that felt actually at that point of time really felt really, really great. I felt like I kind of held. It felt right because I felt like I had control of what I wanted to do, but at the same time, I knew that I fucked up so bad because, like, I failed in that previous university, college, and it costed my mom a lot of money. My mom's not a person that had a lot of money. I may have gone to Street KL, but Street KL last year, 1 year is 3,000 ringgit. Now it's different,
Right.
The Street KL was just open. I think like we were like one of the first few pioneering batch students. So yeah, so I think it felt great. And then I think I remember one time I had to go at 1 year. I had to go to Perth, Australia, and my mom couldn't afford to send me to Australia. And then I didn't know about this, but I think she had to borrow money from her sister to send me to Australia. And I was like, oh, okay. And that's where I was like thinking to myself, like, are we really that financially incapable? You know what I mean? Because parents, no matter how broke they are, right, they would never tell their kids. They would just tell their kids, yeah, we're fine, we're okay. And my mom actually did a good job in making me feel like we lived a very happy, content life. And not until I realized that when I came out to work and realized that my mom was actually earning really little, and that's why I questioned her, how the hell do you bring up like 2 kids? And my mom's a single parent. I lost my dad when I was 1. And yeah, like, how the hell do you do it?
Yeah, it's quite amazing, right? How our moms can actually do it.
So I knew that she was doing tuition classes. After she finishes her school, she will give like tuition classes until like 7-8 o'clock. And I'm like, wow, that's insane.
Wow. Yeah. I also sometimes wonder how my mom does it.
Yeah.
So my dad also passed away when I was 14.
Okay.
Yeah. Subsequently, I just remember for a very long period of time, we only had dinner at about 9 o'clock. Because she would work until about 9 something. Then she come back, she cooks. So it's like 9:30, 10 like that, right? Yeah. And sometimes I'm really, really very amazed that how she can
I remember
do it.
that my mom would come in and eat, and now she'll go back out. Say, hey, be careful. She'll go off for an hour and then come back.
Yeah.
She was going out to give tuition classes. Then after that, she started giving tuition classes downstairs in my house. Yeah, I remember that. Dang.
Now, having said that, right? Now you're all that successful and everything all. Yeah. What are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about you?
I was born in a silver spoon in my mouth. They thought I was rich to begin with. A lot of people. But what are the biggest misconceptions? I don't know, man. I tend to biggest misconception. I at one point in time, I kind of used to Google myself. Like when we first started, just to see what people were saying, and I stopped because there were people who were supporting, but it's always sometimes when you go through and you have like 1 or 2 bad comments, it kind of sticks with you.
Yeah.
Even though if it's not true, like this content sucks. You call this kind of content, blah 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 blah. And, misconceptions. I don't know. Some people might think that I'm really short, but I'm tall. Some people might think that I'm really. I mean, born with a silver spoon in my mouth. Some people may think, I got a lot of girlfriends, but no. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I have any very big encounters with people really being like, thinking, having this big misconceptions. I think like if there's one, everybody thinks like I'm a very cocky, arrogant. You know what I mean? That's the biggest misconception because every time people tend to talk to me, after that they'll be like, hey, I want to tell you something. When the first time I met you, I thought you damn arrogant. I thought you like, wow, Mr. Know All, think you damn great and stuff like that. It's like, yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay. At first, that's one of the big misconceptions.
Yeah, I think even for myself, when I just came into this industry, right?
Yeah.
That was just very new, then I talk to people, different kind of people. Then I start talking about different content creators. So I say, hey, how's Jinnyboy like as a person? They say, hey, I think I heard he a bit action man, then after I was thinking, oh, I haven't met him before, so I don't know lah, huh? Yeah. But for me, myself, I think other people also think I'm like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then when you first talked to me, right, I was like, no, he's not perfectly fine. Very okay.
I think when I got like actually initially when I first started YouTubing or even hits or whatever not, when people come up to me, hey, you know what? I hear that people say that you're quite it kind of affected me a lot because I knew I wasn't. So it's like, then I try really hard to please everyone. You know, like everybody I see, I try to be overly friendly and whatever. No, then I realized that that's not me, you know? I become this like weird person, like, oh, hi, you know what I mean? Can I help you? I be overly hospitable. I try so hard to please. Then I came to realize that why am I trying so hard to please everybody but myself?
Yeah.
Then I completely didn't give a shit.
So having said this, right, I think this is out of my script, you know, and I think that but it's a question worth asking.
Yeah.
How do you deal with all these negative comments and all the haters? Because being a content creator, right, like you say,
Yeah.
just turn on the comments.
Yeah.
You got a bunch of either good comments or bad comments. I myself come to today, right, sometimes I don't even bother reading comments anymore.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and you have been longer than me in this.
Right.
Right. You'll probably get people saying stuff like, oh, the guy is an idiot. You know,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
heard, or either like, oh, this content, like that also consider good. What kind of idea is this? Yeah. How do you deal with all this?
I'm so sorry I have to say this, but you need to go through it to understand it. Really, I'm not lying, because like I run a talent agency and I work with a lot of talents, and some of them have go through some of these problems, and I just tell them, don't worry, you know, don't worry about this, don't worry about, but they still don't listen. And then I think a few years later, they tend to realize that they don't care. I'm sorry to say this, like, I know that like some people tend to expect an answer because, you know, they want to kind of like go through it immediately so it doesn't affect them. You need to go through it to understand, because the strongest person that can really bring you out of that mental state of like, you know, validating people is yourself. You are your biggest enemy. You are your biggest validation. You know, you will, you know, whether or not this person says something about you, the only person that would choose to agree or to disagree is yourself. Are you gonna allow someone to come and tell you, hey, you're quite lah? Even when you think that you're not, but are you gonna agree with the person? If you think that you're not, then yeah, just go on thinking that you're not, right? And then like you will be able to see the results. If you are really an arrogant person, then in the long run, no one's gonna be working with you.
That's right. That's
yeah,
right.
no one's gonna be friends with you. Like for me, it's like, how many friends? Like I remember, like when you're young, right, in high school, the more friends I have, the more validation it means that, oh, I'm a nice guy, everybody likes me, right? But like when you come to my age, like I hardly hang out with more than like 10 people. Yeah.
Do you realize that as you grow older, as you actually, in fact, as you do better and better in your business,
Yeah.
you tend to pick your friends even more carefully.
Of course, yes.
Very, very carefully.
Yeah. Who you are 5 years ago is not who you are today. You change, you grow. Even if you advance or go worse, you are not the same person as you were 5 years ago. Everybody's different. So everybody should not kind of judge you for who you were 5 years ago today. And like, yeah, again, back to that answer that you were asking for, like, how do you deal with all these hate comments? You need to go through it to understand it, because you will have that gut feeling to know that, okay, these are the things that don't matter. And after a while, you will like, you know, not think about it anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, for me, I recall when I put up a YouTube video, right? There was one time I tried doing vlog. So aside from like financial stuff, I tried to put out a vlog. And I remember my second episode. When I put it up, I forgot when I didn't export the sound.
Oh.
Yeah, so when it went up, I just loaded, I just went and sleep. Because
right.
you know how it was when you first started, you have no team.
Yeah.
You do from morning to night, right? When everyone think that, wow, YouTuber very
like
easy.
you think like, oh, okay lah, should be okay lah, export, you know? Because I exported it.
Yeah, because you're like so tired already, right? The whole day, right? Yeah, then the next day someone left a comment there. Said, this is the worst quality video I've ever seen. How can you not export the sound together? You are shit. I will unsubscribe. And
right.
Yeah, and it affected me quite bad at the start.
Oh.
Yeah, at the start it was quite bad. And then after a while, after one day, I just asked myself this question, like, look, if you're going to do this for a long time, you're going to get this more and more.
Yeah.
You just have to be able to choose what are you going to listen to, what are you going to not.
Yeah, yeah.
And no matter what you do, no matter how you think you are trying to help someone, no matter how good is your content, there will be that 10% who are keyboard warriors,
Yeah.
who will just whack you like nobody's business.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what you explain, they will never listen.
Exactly.
And so if you're going to let that drag you down, then you're not suitable for this. So that's what I told myself.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
that's. I wouldn't say that you're not suitable for it. I feel like I feel when you mentioned that 10% are going to be keyboard warriors, and out of that 10%, I would say like maybe another like 5% are going to make sense.
Yeah.
They're going to say something that, oh yeah, okay, this guy's right. But it's great. It's good. At least some, I mean, you know what to work towards. You'll be able to, like, but you mentioned, you'll be able to choose what you want to listen to and what you don't want to listen to.
Yeah.
So I feel it's growth lah. At the end of the day, people tend to have egos. Everyone has egos, like especially when they're content creators and they create something that's huge, right? That became big. There will be some sort of ego attached to it. Be like,
That's right.
I know what I'm doing. You know what I mean? But after a while, you tend to be like, oh, okay, you know what? Actually, I can't be the only one. I can't be the only person that knows everything. You know, if it is, then like, why am I not like a billionaire? You know,
That's right.
Yeah, that's the wrong way to put it, lah. But if I know
what you mean, right? Like
yeah.
at the end of the day, it's kind of like you got to be confident, yet at the same time, you got to stay humble.
Yeah, not only humble, but you have to like be open to other people giving
That's
input
right.
as well.
Yeah. Humble as in like the part of not just being not arrogant, but you know your own limitations.
Yeah.
Right. I think that's something that is very, very important for anyone who wants to start a business.
That's right.
Yeah. Now, having said that, right, in order to wrap this whole thing up for today, being where Jinnyboy is and aspect ratio, the past 2 years was a difficult year, and we are actually, in fact, looking at the year ahead, maybe even more difficult.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think as you're dealing with business, you can see the response in the market, right?
Yeah.
Like we ourselves also, we were expecting a great year next year, but by just a few months back, we start to notice the tides are a little bit
different.
Nothing too significant, but you can kind of sense it after you are in it for long, right?
Yeah.
Then, what was the transformation for Jinnyboy, Jinnyboy TV and aspect ratio? What are you guys doing right now, and how are you going to be dealing with the challenges ahead?
So Aspect Ratio Studios is actually an agency that I formed together with my wife because we felt like the business organically grew to something else. So when we started the YouTube channel, people would just come to, I want a YouTube video on Jinnyboy TV, which is great. We had a long reign for almost like 9 years of clients coming to us. But then when the pandemic hit, it's not to say that we can't do videos. We still had clients coming up to us. But for me, I kind of felt like we were just doing content for the sake of making content. I already had like a creative team that kind of runs the content automatically, and I felt like we were just creating content for the sake of creating content. I'm not to say that they're not great content creators. My creative team is amazing. They're even better than I am. They can write short films and they still. The content still did great. People resonated to the films and stuff. But like for me, I didn't want to have a business that ran on popularity, because popularity dies. And when popularity dies, what if I'm not making enough money to kind of like pay my staff? And that's a big responsibility to me. So when I saw an opportunity to kind of diversify the business, because we started influencer marketing about 5 years ago with my wife, because my wife used to work in Universal Music. She used to handle all the big stars like Lady Gaga, Justin Bieber, Taylor Swift, you name it. So I said, hey, with your experience, can I start a company where you manage the talents that go on my films? And if they grow a big following, would you be able to sell them to clients or not? Then she's like, yeah, okay, no problem. So we started with like, people like Josephine, Yap, Arwin Kumar, Brendan Ho. So she was like the mama san lah, she was taking care of a few talents. And then it's very straightforward. Like, we pitch them to clients, or we handle all of their campaigns, and we take a percentage cut of it. So it's very clear-cut, commission-based. And then suddenly when clients came up to me and say, look, I love your talents. You have 4 of them. They're amazing. But I want like 40. I'm like, do you have? And then my wife was like, no. I'm like, yes, we do. I just say yes. Yeah, I just said yes. Then it's like, she's like, what are you doing? So she's like, how the hell do you expect me to handle 40 fellas? Dala 4 fellas are like a freaking nightmare. 40, I was like, never mind. We figured it out later. Yeah. So then that's where I realized that influencer marketing was on a rise. And I said that, look, imagine this. If you could get 40 talents, which we could easily get because, we work with so many influencers, and pitch them to a client. All we needed to do was just earn 100 ringgit from each person, and we got like how much? 40,000 bucks.
30,000, yes.
Yeah. And then she's like, oh yeah, ho. So like, when that happened, so like for us, it's like, okay, cool, no problem. We just did that. And then when we did one, the client came back again. And I'm like, oh. And they came back with like, okay, now I want like 80. I'm like, oh, shit. So I was like, okay, cool. The influencer marketing was going bigger. So that's where that's where we just started hiring people. My wife was pregnant at the point of time. And I forced her to hire someone. She didn't want to hire. My wife is the type that she wants to do everything on her own. She's like very OCD. From top to bottom, finance, everything she wants to do, right? She got problem when you come to me.
So she's the operation person.
Yeah.
She's the one who makes sure that everything runs.
She's operations.
And you're the one who comes out with the crazy ideas.
Yeah.
And daring to try.
But no, I don't even need to come up with the crazy ideas. Like she is PR. She is the PR. She is the marketing. She is the servicing. She is the operational. She is the execution. She's everything. So we when she got pregnant and we gave birth to Kazel, we just like didn't want to hire because like it was making money, but to hire one guy to pay him about 2.5 fresh graduate is gonna cost us about like almost 30,000 a year, right? And then it's like, then she's like, hey, means we have to do more campaigns. Now only got 2. How? So the minute we hired one, then I started kind of like hinting my other clients, say, look, we kind of do this. So we kind of got the ball rolling at about 2018, 2019. But when the pandemic came, production was doing well. We were doing a lot of films on the channel. And I'm very grateful, for so long. Because for me, it's like I kind of felt like the channel should dip already after like 7-8 years. Because, everybody popularity should kind of plateau down after a while. Nobody can be like, famous forever. So it's like for me, it's like I always had that mindset because hits used to tell us that it's like you can't be in the morning crew forever, otherwise it will still be Fly Guy and Little Kev, until today. But the morning crew has changed a few times ever since. For the duration of your lifetime, you've heard like radio DJs change. Why? Because popularity has just kind of plateaued. So came the pandemic when everything was kind of uncertain. Productions were all at halt. You cannot shoot anything and whatever not. And that's where I decided to say, like, I went to all of my clients and said, look, you guys have money to spend. Instead of spending it on one person like me to give you one video, how about you take the same budget and I give you 40 people to give you 40 different videos that you can repurpose on your platforms to basically market your products? And they said yes. So they transferred all of their marketing spend into influencer marketing. And that's where I started hiring. It's so funny because like this year when I went back to the office for the first time, there were some employees that I've not even met for a year. And that was the first time of me meeting them in person. We only talked face to face. Like we've talked to them on Zoom, but the cameras are not on because like shy, that kind of thing. And we just hustled. Like I knew that we were in survival mode. I knew that I was very stressed out because sales were declining for production, but we then put focus into the other side, and we realized that wow, we came out of this without realizing that we kind of made it happen, and and that's where I decided to basically come out and say, look, I don't want to run a company under my name because it's like getting borderline cringy already. I mean, like some people have already said that I work so hard, but I work so hard to build the Jinnyboy name, but at the end, the credit goes back to me. Some people have said that to me. And I'm like, okay, cool. I hear them. So let's create an agency that people can work in and, be like, equal. So they are the part of the process of building the agency. So it's to be honest, it was a part of the plan, but I didn't expect it to happen so fast, to be honest. It was just a great opportunity to transition into a service that people already know us for. Yes, it's Aspect Ratio Studios. Yes, it's basically run by Jinnyboy and his team. So at least in the process of creating that company, all the clients already know that, okay, my team is capable of doing this. Now that they're an agency, all right, we're not just the justification to their procurement, or we're not going to Jinnyboy just because he's Jinnyboy. We're going to him because he's a company and he gives a service.
That's
or
right.
whatever not.
That's right.
So it's a very natural progression. I love the progression. I enjoyed it. I think the team is amazing. I don't think I would have been able to pull anything off without the team. I just had the vision, but they had they executed it. And I felt that my team has taught me how to grow as a boss, because like sometimes as a boss, you tend to keep a lot of things from your employee. Even with what you charge clients, I cannot, this is PNC. I cannot tell them what we are, whatever not, because if I tell them right, they will then think that, I'm getting paid so little, I might as well come out and do stuff my own. But when you are transparent with your staff, right, they are all basically all in it to basically build the company together with you. And then, when they realize, and when we realize that everything is doing well, then you reward them and they're happy with it.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. I think one thing about building a business and the challenges moving ahead, it's also it's a very different demographic that we are managing today, right? Compared to
Yeah.
our parents' time, right?
Yeah, it is. Yes,
Yeah.
it is very.
I think the newer workforce actually appreciates transparency.
yeah.
They appreciate the fact that you know their effort,
Yeah.
and they want people to trust them as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that is something that we actually really put it in our workforce as well.
Mm-hmm.
We make sure everything is transparent from salary to jobs and everything all.
Yes.
And even like the fact that I just said, oh, we think next year is not going to be a good year. By now already we tell ourselves, maybe next year not going to be a good year.
I constantly say this to my team, like, hey, recession is coming, whatever, not. But I think I'm actually really happy that despite the fact that we went through a pandemic for 2 years, all of them got a pay raise for 2 consecutive years. All of them got their bonuses, and we didn't have to cut down any workforce. We did have some people resign in the process of it because they had a different direction. But it's okay. That's part and parcel. But
That's
the fact that they stuck around made me wonder. Like sometimes I tend to doubt myself. I'm like, hey, why you all stick around, lah? Like this company is really good to work with, man. You know what I mean? Like you tend to you tend to ask that question. I ask that question all the time, and I doubt myself. So like the people like what are some of the misconceptions? Like Jinnyboy is very confident. He knows what he's doing. Sometimes I don't know what I'm doing. I doubt myself sometimes. Sometimes I seek validation or not validation, advice from my employees. To ask them, hey, what should I do? Yeah. I don't know everything. People tend to know that I know everything. All the site agencies, number one YouTuber, like you mentioned, top YouTuber stuff. They tend to think that I know everything. The question is, the answer to that is I don't. But I know that I'm passionate about making it work. So that's the difference.
That's a very good one. I think we got a lot from Jinnyboy today, and it's really beneficial. I learned a lot from you as well. Now, but before we go, just one last one will be, what will be your advice to people who wants to go into a business, whether is it media or whatnot, just as a person, right? What are some advice that you want to give them, whether in terms of finding a partner, whether in terms of getting sales or surviving through this tough time?
I think when you go into a business, I can't really speak on behalf of the other industries like F&B because I have no experience in that. And this industry, I don't even know what industry I'm in. I guess it's media industry or the social media industry.
True. Sometimes people ask me, so I'm a bit like, how to answer?
Yeah, because we've always followed the traditional formula for like almost like 50, 60, 70 years. All of us in social media changes everything in 10 years. It's ridiculous how fast everybody has to kind of like adapt to something that they've been so used to for the past few decades. So if you're going to run a business, this is just me, but it may be different from other people, but you need to basically learn how to make the business succeed and fail on your own first, I feel. You can get a part. Yes, I know some people say that, you partner up with people based on their expertise. So that you partner with, if you don't know how to do finance, you partner with a person who knows how to do finance. If you don't know how to do operations, you partner with a person who do operations, right? So all you become partners. I have had partners in my businesses before, and there'll always be disagreements. And when it comes to disagreements, there'll always be money involved. And then you will have all these disagreements, but how mature are you to basically put aside business and friendship? Sometimes it's really tough to do that. So for me, I would say don't do business with friends, like your best friends, because at the end of the day, if you do business with friends, right? Yeah, it'll be great when things are doing well, but if things are kind of like not doing so well, then you start to be. It happened. I've seen it with my friends, my own friends. They do a business together. Wow, so good, so best of friends doing business together, and then all of a sudden, like one person. You trust everyone because you're friends, and one person decided to kind of take advantage, and then so for me it's like, this is just me, but it doesn't apply to all businesses because some businesses require really specialized people to work, and that's where I leave it to you. If you're gonna start an airline like Tony Fernandez, obviously he can't do it himself, and obviously he need very specialized people. But if you're gonna start a small business, I feel you need to start small. Like I'll give you the social media marketing agency that I started. We started small. It started with my wife, right? She did everything from top to bottom. I assisted. I just both of us. I sat down and I advised her how to manage talents, how to charge, what is the media value and whatever not. And as we went, we know there are times where we knew that we charged a little bit too high, but there are times where we knew that we were charging a little bit too low. You know. What do we need to do? We need to gain trust from creators. We need to gain trust from clients. It's not just about the clients. You know, you are the person that both clients and creators need to trust. So you learn about all these type of things. You know, so you know the ins and outs. You know what campaigns will work, what campaigns won't work. You know how what kind of creators to link with brands and stuff. When you know everything top to bottom, then expand. That's just what I think is the best. And there's no rush to see, like some people tend to, like I know a lot of tech companies, they rush to build because they are rushing to sell. You know, they
Totally agree.
Yeah. Funding this and that. 200 employees, 300 employees. 1 billion valuation. Boom. You know, public listed. Boom. Cash out. You know, I'm rich. You know, put it into Luna. Boom. You know. More 1 million became $10,000. You know what I mean? So I feel if you know what you're doing, if you think that the skill set that you have can turn into a business, I feel start small. There's no rush for you to expand because at the end of the day, don't tell me you want to get rich quick, right? You want something that you want to build to be sustainable for even until you leave the company or even after you're not here. Wouldn't it be great if you kind of like if you're not in this world anymore and your business still sustains? I mean, look at Coca-Cola, look at Nike, look at Audemars Piguet, look at Rolex, look at all these brands. They were started by someone, right? Like the founder of Rolex, I forgot his name, but you know, some fancy name. But you know, he started off getting parts from different places to basically build this watch, right? And then, then resell it as a brand Rolex. Then, you know, he started small and it became what it is today. And how long has it been around? I feel about 100 years plus.
That's right.
So start small. And when you start small, you at a point of time, there'll come a point of time where you start small, you do everything on your own, right? You become some sort of like an expert in your own field.
That's right.
Right? And once you're an expert, then you kind of impart that knowledge to the people you hire. And when you impart the knowledge to the people you hire, they're going to bring value into what they think they could kind of bring value to your business. And this is your job to listen. And it's your job to give them a chance to basically prove to you that it works. If it works, then it's great. So even if you're an expert in your own field, don't think that people should run the business like how you should run the business. You should be very open to other expertise coming in to help elevate your business. If that person basically comes to your company and he wants a job with your company, you should be damn happy. You know, it's like, why would this person want to work your company? Why don't you go and work for like the four accounting, what's it called again? Whatever.
Big Four.
The Big Four. Why don't you go and work for Nike? Why don't you go work for Adidas? Why don't you go work for like, you know, Google? They're coming to work for Aspect Ratio Studios, which is a Malaysian-made company. Why do they want to come and work for me? You could have just gone and worked for like, you know, Leo Burnett or whatever not, or even Shopee. It's even cooler there. You get bigger perks. But for someone to choose to work for your company proves that they kind of like something about your company and they kind of they agree with the vision of your company.
That's right.
So you need to always understand that.
Yeah. So now you know why Jinnyboy is able to sustain his business as one of the top YouTubers until today.
Oh man,
yeah.
There are a lot of YouTubers that are bigger than me now.
A lot of people think that the YouTube business is very easy or it's just a YouTuber, but actually it goes way beyond that, right? At the end of the day, it's a business, right? And you got to be able to learn to run it like a business. And today we've learned a lot from you, and I personally, at least, has learned a lot from you. Yeah, you have so many years as a senior than me in this industry. Yeah, and it's just really amazing. I wish I can actually continue to. But I can see my staff telling me, hey, wait, time's up, more than that.
You freaking wrap it up. You think airtime is cheap?
So, yeah. Thank you very much, guys, for joining us today. And thank you very much, Jinny. Now, if you have any question, you can email us or either reach out to us in our Instagram or either our YouTube and Facebook. Now, if you'd love to see Jinnyboy again, do send us a DM so that I can convince him to come again.
Yeah, you have like your comments. Yes. Please do not bring him back again. He talks so much about himself. It's so freaking annoying.
I'm sure that's not gonna be the case, lah. All
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. See you.